Goldie, Roger's death shook the world of One Piece. But what if the Pirate King was reborn as our main character, Monkey D. Luffy himself? With Roger's spirit returning in a new era, how would the seas change and how unstoppable would he become? As Luffy was born, Goldie Roger's soul stirred awake within the newborn baby's body in Fuchsia Village. Though trapped in an infant's frame, Roger's awareness remained intact, and he decided to remain silent, letting destiny unfold. From his earliest years, something about Luffy was off, as the villagers noticed his boundless energy and lack of fear. Beneath his silly laughter and youthful excitement, Roger's presence quietly shaped his will, and his dormant haki was brewing inside earlier than anyone else could achieve. When Shanks and his crew arrived at Fuchsia Village, Roger's old memories came back strongly. Shanks sensed a familiar aura in Luffy, an echo of the Captain's Conqueror's haki, but dismissed it as just potential waiting to bloom, unaware of what exactly was resting in front of him. Luffy's early life became a silent period of training and preparation, as Roger knew he needed to go through hellish training to rule the world again. Roger's wisdom guided his instincts, and he intuitively understood control, focus, and willpower without formal teaching. One day, while training, Luffy was approached by a massive dinosaur and used his Conqueror's haki immediately, telling it to get lost. The turning point came when Luffy encountered Higuma's bandits, and a wave of invisible pressure rippled through the air, knocking several men unconscious. Shanks recognized it instantly as Conqueror's haki, with an aura too similar to Roger's. The events of Luffy going into the water and Shanks saving him were the same, but there, Luffy gained many memories of his past life and saw Shanks when he was a child. At this point, Luffy knew something or someone was calling him. From that point forward, Luffy trained his body relentlessly, focusing solely on the memories he had. He pushed himself to meditate and calm himself, quickly learning armament and observation haki. He would go into the jungle, sit in the middle, and wait for predators to attack, using his haki to observe and then attack with armament haki. As Luffy went to Shell Town, his true potential came through when fighting Captain Morgan. Even at a young age, Luffy was well versed in armament haki. The battle started when Morgan came blasting with his huge steel axe arm, but Luffy saw the attack coming and dodged it. He suddenly disappeared, coming from the sky, and used his Gomu Gomu abilities with a mix of armament haki to pin the captain to the ground easily. Then came Luffy's fight against Don Krieg, where his control over armament haki increased. He destroyed Krieg's shield, punching steel and making it bend in the most gruesome way possible. By the time Luffy reached Arlong Park, his Conqueror's haki was one of his strongest points. Every fisherman except Arlong collapsed instantly as soon as Luffy walked in. In the original storyline, Luffy struggled against Arlong, but now he destroyed him, making him beg for mercy. Marines already took notice of what Luffy was capable of, with some saying he was a reincarnation of Roger's will. The Grand Line tested every crew that dared to enter its waters, but for Luffy, it was more like child's play. Echoes of his past life were surfacing daily, as he recognized these seas not as a new frontier, but as his old home, surprising his crew. The crew journeyed forward, and Luffy's instincts started sharpening again. He no longer fought with simple instincts, but with movements that had precision, balance, and awareness born from decades of experience. Zoro was the first to notice, recognizing that Luffy was moving like a king. Nami also noticed that Luffy would sometimes speak in such an ancient way, mentioning things like the Will of D and the Lost Kingdom with knowledge he shouldn't have. As the Going Merry ventured deeper, Luffy's control over haki grew exponentially stronger, discovering that coating his rubber body with armament haki amplified its elasticity and recoil. Their arrival in Alabasta marked the beginning of the true reawakening. In early encounters, Crocodile's control over dehydration and sandstorms overwhelmed Luffy, but his observation haki quickly adjusted. When they clashed in the royal tomb beneath Alubarna, Luffy's advanced armament haki coated his fists so completely that moisture and sand didn't matter anymore. Each strike destroyed Crocodile's body because of Luffy's haki, which was the purest essence of Goldie Roger. Crocodile retaliated with his deadliest technique, draining life from everything, but Luffy's body adapted. By merging the elasticity of rubber with haki's reinforcement, he created the perfect counterforce. His punches broke through Crocodile's sand and absorbed the shock, bouncing back stronger each time. In the final fury, Luffy used one single big armament-coated fist punch that ended up killing Crocodile in front of everyone. The Straw Hats were surprised by Luffy's brutality after killing Crocodile. After getting Robin on board, the crew moved to Skypiea, where Luffy confronted Enel. Despite Enel's lightning being unstoppable to most, it was useless against Luffy's rubber body. Luffy's Conqueror's haki disrupted Enel's focus, and Enel sensed two people inside Luffy. Luffy defeated Enel by merging the power of haki and Gomu Gomu's awakened essence. After the battle, Luffy got a flood of memories with images of Roger, Rayleigh, Odin, and Rocks flickering in his mind. He remembered the faces of those he sailed with, the seas he ruled, and the laughter he left behind with his execution. This rebirth was part of a cycle older than the world government itself. As they entered Water 7 in Eni's lobby, Roger's essence had fully merged with Luffy's will, creating something something greater than either could alone. Before Water 7, Luffy sensed a distant disturbance through his observation haki, the clash between Ace and Blackbeard. When the Straw Hats arrived, the battle was raging. Luffy entered with advanced armament haki coated in obsidian layers. Blackbeard tried to pull him with a dark vortex, but Luffy countered using haki through his rubber form. Luffy and Ace fought together with flame and rubber, striking in perfect rhythm, similar to how Roger once fought alongside Whitebeard. Blackbeard retreated with Ace. Luffy tried to follow, but memories disrupted him as he realized Ace was his own son from his past life. That night, Luffy had strange dreams about the One Piece, Joy Boy, and understanding the world in a deeper form. At Water 7, when CP9 revealed themselves, Luffy's resolve hardened as memories of Roger's execution haunted him. He made up his mind that he wouldn't just let another age die with him, but would work for the better. His fight with Lucci was iconic, with lots of destruction. At first, Lucci was faster than Luffy could even see, but soon Luffy started seeing into the future, an advancement of his haki. Luffy adapted quickly and destroyed Lucci with armament-coated punches as he was about to use Soru. Each hit destroyed Lucci, and by the end of the battle, the CP9 agent stood broken, not just physically, but mentally. The force of Luffy's haki showed him who was the boss, but the greatest storm was yet to come, because the world shook after Ace was given to the Marines. The weight of Roger's past life bore down on him. He once accepted execution without resistance, believing his death would ignite the next generation. Now, in his second life, the same decision felt like a curse. The guilt of leaving a son behind burned stronger than ever, and he wasn't ready yet. As the Marines prepared for the executions, the battlefield was a convergence of power. Everyone saw the admirals, warlords, Whitebeard's fleet, and the future of the sea. Luffy arrived not as a reckless youth, but as something entirely new. His haki was radiating across the battlefield, clashing with the strongest wills on Earth. Even the warlords were surprised to see how much he had grown. As the Marines prepared for the execution, the war erupted into chaos. Luffy's predictive observation easily countered Kizaru's light-speed attacks. Kuzan's ice shattered under a single Conqueror-coated strike. Even Sakazuki, who was brimming with magma, found his punches meeting resistance unlike anything before. Luffy combined his elasticity with Roger's battle technique, which involved channeling armament haki and Conqueror's haki together to create explosive strikes that destroyed everyone in the battle. Whitebeard was still standing and fighting beside him. The old and new legends stood side by side with their auras bending the battle's energy. Together, they advanced towards the execution stand. Marines fell unconscious in waves, unable to stand the pressure. When Ace's executioners raised their blades, Luffy's Conqueror's haki came out with a force that shocked everyone. Not only were the executioners knocked out, but the very shackles that suppressed Ace were now destroyed thanks to Luffy's haki. Sengoku and Garp both felt it. They saw that Luffy possessed the same aura as Gold D. Roger, which is why Garp came to fight him hand to hand. However, Luffy's aura was all red around him as they fought hand to hand. The man who was strongest at one point was struggling against someone like Luffy? That was quite surprising. He told Luffy that what he was seeing on this battlefield wasn't his grandson, but something completely different. Luffy, with the same demeanor, announced to the world that he is the reincarnation of none other than Gold D. Roger. At first, everyone started laughing, but as soon as Luffy said, "Shut up!" there was a drop in silence due to his haki, destroying everyone's wills. Even Garp stopped advancing, and Sengoku got scared of Luffy's announcement. As Ace was fighting, suddenly Sakazuki came behind him, sending a wave of magma strong enough to kill even the strongest. But Luffy got a whiff of the future and suddenly disappeared while fighting against Garp. Garp was shocked to see how fast Luffy had become. As soon as Sakazuki was going to put a fist through Ace's chest, Luffy came behind him, created an armament haki chop, and chopped Sakazuki's head off, telling him to die. For the first time, he kicked someone so mercilessly without showing signs of remorse. He then hugged Ace, telling him that the spirit of his father is alive and well within him, and that the battle should stop already. Shanks also came from the shadows, stopping the whole Marineford War, forcing all the Marines to run away, since they saw way too many casualties in a short amount of time. The whole battle narrative got into Luffy's hands due to his amazing abilities, but now there was a huge pirate meeting in Marineford, where Shanks, Whitebeard, and other important pirates were present, asking Luffy about what he was feeling. Luffy told them that inside him, there's another entity of the past, Gold D. Roger, and that each passing day, his memories are becoming clearer and better. So the pirates declared him the second Pirate King, and everyone gave him their support, which Luffy humbly denied. He said that he would become the Pirate King with his crew, not with the help of everyone, which was a way for him to test his absolute strength. Marineford was a total success for the pirates at this point. After the world got to know that Roger was reborn as Luffy, things changed drastically. Every newspaper, every street, and everywhere, there were just people yelling that there's another Pirate King, though the feelings were still mixed. Both the Marines and pirates were equally shocked, and whether you looked from Mary Jawas to the New World, the talks of Luffy were there, with his bounty exceeding the original bounty of Roger. According to the Marines, he was the second Pirate King, a title that only the best could ever claim. At this point, Roger's memories were coming back. His sheer aura was becoming clear because the previous Pirate King was taking over the identity of Luffy. Even he looked quite similar. Roger now understood what the whole thing about Joy Boy was, and as soon as Robin discovered the ancient text, she learned that the Void century wasn't just talking about a random fallen kingdom, but it meant an ideal world that would exist without any borders. Robin just looked into Luffy's eyes and saw no more Luffy, but more of Roger. Now, the Thousand Sunnies sailed into the New World, and every single island, after seeing the dominant flag of Roger and Luffy, a modified version, was trembling in fear. Even the Rocks pirates joined him, going into one single place, Wano. Wano was quite similar, except the confrontation with Kaido wasn't just any regular battle. It was a thing of the past. Kaido had long declared himself as the strongest creature alive, a symbol of his own dominance and that he had surpassed humanity. But now, he would be facing the strongest human himself, the one that everyone was scared of. Standing in Onigashima was none other than Kaido. When they both met, Kaido knew that he wasn't looking at the weaker Luffy, but Roger himself. At this point, Roger already knew every single one of Luffy's abilities and was ready to blend them with his own powers. Thanks to Luffy's rubber fruit and his legendary Haki control, a new ability emerged. At first, Kaido had the upper hand in his dragon form, but Luffy transformed into Gear 5, Pirate King, combining Nika's freedom and Roger's style. Kaido attacked with his Kanabo, but Roger met him blow for blow using advanced armament Haki, deflecting attacks and redirecting them toward Kaido. Their battle went on for hours, shaking the whole earth. When Kaido transformed back into dragon form and used endless flames, Roger's inner genius awakened, and he smashed Kaido through the Skull Dome with a strike so strong it put a hole through Kaido that wasn't fixable. After the battle, the person known as Luffy had disappeared entirely, looking more like Roger with the same mustache and old voice. The remnants of Whitebeard's crew rallied behind Luffy, while Shanks swore to guard the next phase of his journey. Meanwhile, Imu activated the Void Light in Mary Jawaz, a weapon designed to erase Will itself. When Roger reached Mary Jawaz with the Straw Hats, pirates, revolutionaries, and fishermen were all fighting against the Marines, led by Dragon. The 5 elders rained down from the sky, and Shanks, Rayleigh, Whitebeard, Ace, and others started fighting them, while Roger was approached by St. Peter. Peter used his Sandworm Devil Fruit to swallow Roger, but Roger came out crashing using armament Haki. In the end, it became a battle of Haki, which Roger easily won, beheading Peter. One by one, the pirates destroyed the elders, with one of the most interesting matchups being between Garling and Shanks, where the world saw Shanks' true power rivaling Roger's own ability. Now it was time to fight Lord Imu himself. Roger fought representing freedom. His attacks merged with Nika's absurd freedom and Roger's divine precision. Imu descended wielding the Void Light that nullified existence, but Roger wasn't alone, having the innocence of Luffy, the support of Ace, and the power of Shanks. After turning into his Nika form, he fused all 3 forms of Haki into God's Supreme Haki. The collision forced the heavens open and cracked the red line. Roger's Haki took form as a huge red figure that drew a big red sword, driving the final blow through Imu's chest. The impact split the red line completely, and the seas flowed together into one ocean. Many pirates lost their lives, but the red line was finally destroyed, symbolizing the unity of the world. The world was no longer divided. For the first time in history, pirates and Marines also came into synergy, even though there was a bit of bad blood between them. When everyone asked Roger what exactly the One Piece was, he replied it was never gold or jewels. It was laughter, the shared joy of a world without borders, of every person who could sail freely. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe for more One Piece content.